Okay, so we're dealing with a question where it's saying it's passing through a certain point and parallel to another line. Now this equation here is in standard form. That's that ax plus by equals c that we've been talking about. And they're asking for slope-intercept form, which is going to be your y equals mx plus b. So that's kind of how they want your question to finish there. That's a couple of things we want to consider. Now, the first thing in any of these questions, the fact that they're telling you it's parallel and that they're giving you to a certain line is the idea is, okay, I have to first solve for slope. That's the first thing I want to accomplish. And one way to do that is to take this standard form equation and get it to be a y equals mx plus b form. And one way to do that is to move this 3x by subtracting 3x. This is a positive 3x. Do an inverse operation, moving it to the other side of the equation, okay? And then if this is multiplying, then I'm going to divide. Now what I saw a lot of is, I saw a lot of students lost their negative sign here. And that's important. That'll change a lot of what your equation is going to look like. Make sure you maintain that negative sign that comes from here. Now, since it's parallel, we know that the slope is going to be the exact same. So we have a m, or slope, of negative 3 over 2. And then your x1 is negative 4. And then your y1, 4. And these are the three pieces you want to use when working with a y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, which is our point slope formula. Really, there is no way to solve, or there is, but basically, in most cases, 90% or better, you're going to be using this equation at some point. So I can fill in y minus my y1, which is 4, equals my matching slope of 3 over 2, x minus, now be careful here, your x1 is a negative 4, so it becomes negative 4. And what that does for me is actually changes this to a positive. So we get y minus 4 is equal to, I'm going to distribute negative 3 half x, we'll do negative 3 over 2 times basically 4 over 1, because I'm multiplying by the 4, which is 4, which gives me negative 12 over 2, which gives me 12 divided by 2, negative 6. So I could put that negative 6, that negative 6 is going to end up right here, negative 6. And now I need y equals mx plus b form, so getting y by itself, that's an important piece there, plus 4, y is equal to negative 3 half x minus 2, and this would have been my final answer and formula here. I saw some 10s. I believe that was maybe from losing this negative sign here or making this a positive. Somehow this ended up being a positive, and I saw some 10s as a mistake. So just be careful of that. The signs is very important when you go through this process. So let's take a look at one that's dealing with perpendicular and kind of brings in the idea of standard form. So in this case, they give me a formula which is perpendicular to, which has a slope of negative 5 over 6. I don't need to solve for y like I did in the original equation. It's giving my slope right away. And in order to get a perpendicular slope, I'm going to flip and I'm going to change the sign. So I get a positive 6 over 5. And then straight away I'm seeing, okay, I have a slope 6 over 5, an x1 of negative 3, and a y1 of negative 5. And that goes straight into my point slope, which I showed you previously, y minus. Now this is another kind of subtracting a negative, so be careful That's going to change some of your results to a positive. And then you have your y plus 5. I'm gonna change this to a negative here, or to a positive and distribute it. 6 over 5x. Now I'm gonna do 6 times 3. Well, basically 6 over 5 times 3 over 1, which is a positive 18 over 5. Okay, you're just multiplying tops and bottoms. And then I need to subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, here's my subtraction of 18 over 5 minus 5, which I can write as 5 over 1. Okay, and in order to subtract this, I need to do 18 over 5 minus, now 1 times 5 is 5, so 5 times 5 is 25. And the difference of this, 18 minus 25, is negative 7 over 5. So this becomes y is equal to 6 over 5x minus 7 over 5. Now let me take that, and I'll do the standard form in another color here. So we'll go 6 over 5x minus 7 over 5. Couple key things is one, to get this x and y on the same side. Remember, standard form looks like this. Ax plus by equals c. So basically you want your x and y on the same side. It's for those questions where you're buying a certain amount of hot dogs and buying a certain amount of drinks, and what's the total cost. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract the 6,5x from both sides. Now I do that to move this to the left side of the equation here. So let's rewrite it. Negative 6 over 5x plus y is equal to negative 7 over 5. Now a couple things in standard form. One is that you can't have a fraction. So one way to do that, one way to get rid of a denominator is to multiply it by that denominator. And basically what ends up happening is you're cross-reducing, and you just end up with that number. It's like if I had 5 over 1 times negative 6 over 5, I would get negative 30 over 5, which is just negative 6. So one thing I could do is just cross-reduce and get the negative 6. So I have a negative 6x. Now I don't have a denominator here, so this number is just going to multiply to the y. And again, I have a cross-reduce, and you get the negative 7. Now another funny thing about standard form is that the x can never be negative. So if you ever have a coefficient in front of x that's negative, just multiply the entire equation, distribute that by a negative, and you get a positive 6x minus 5y is equal to a positive 7. And that would have been your final answer there.